they had these little tapes and ghetto blaster, like boombox
Mm-hmm.
cassette, a portable cassette player, and just with built-in mic, you'd sit there and put the guitar amp 2 feet away, and the singer would get close and try to record little ideas. And so they just kind of had that, and he so played me some ideas, and it was literally just him and Axl, like Cold Hard Cash, and Shadow of Your Love and stuff like that. And then they had done that demo with Chris Webber before that, which had Johnny Christ and those guys on it at Mystic Studios. So it was like, he goes, yeah, this is the stuff we'd been doing. This was like, a little while ago. We're kind of not, it's an idea that you could tell what we're up to, but we're sort of going in a different direction than that, And there's still no Axl. And then out of the bathroom, which was like just, 10 feet away, the other side of the house, the door opens and this guy comes out, with like a rock, 3/4 length rock jersey on that was like shredded and tied back together, and real quiet. And like, hey, how's it going? And he wasn't like, he was just very quiet and reserved. And Izzy was doing all the talking and all the action and stuff. And it's like, hey.
Okay.
And listening to this stuff and going, yeah, okay, this is pretty cool. I like this. This is way like, it was not what I was expecting. It was cooler,
It sounds like nothing was what you were expecting.
No, and like the way that their tapes, their demos on the boombox were just so raw. I mean, it was more punk rock than any of the shit that I'd been hearing, but with Axl singing. So it was like,
what did you think of his voice at that time?
I listened and I was like, damn, because it was all he had, like all he used anyways was like one section of his range at that point. It was just all the time. It was just on 11 all the time. There was no Mr. Brownstone voice or ballad voice, or it was just, scream. And I was like, so after about the third song, I looked over to him. He still wasn't really saying much, And I go, do you like Nazareth by any chance? And he looked at me and kind of like, goes, yeah. I like that a lot. And I was like, right on. That's awesome. Because no one really sings like that, like anymore. Like at that point, there weren't. It was just the real, like, kind of David Lee Roth voice, or like, operatic metal voice, and nothing much in between. And so I was like, yeah, well, shit, this is crazy. This is cool. And he says, well, yeah, we hung out and we just shot the shit, and it was kind of comfortable. Like we got along, I think. And we hung out, and then I had to go, and because, yeah, we'll be in touch. We got this going on. We got this going on. We just got to find the right people. We just, not really happy with the situation we got now. And I don't even know how long they stayed in that room that they were renting, but probably by the next time that I talked to them, they were already moved out. Maybe a little after that. But so anyways, I started getting these more frequent calls from Izzy, like sometimes before I'd wake up, sometimes in the middle of the night.
Okay.
And my mom got a little bit perturbed. She'd like answer the phone, because I lived in the garage behind the house, and she'd have to come out and get me and blah, blah, blah. Telephone, 10 minutes later, I'd come in, hello. It's like, hey, yeah, so can you get out here? We got this, if we can rehearse and get these songs down, I can get this gig opening for a friend of mine's band. And then that didn't happen. And then there was this crazy, he had a friend, he always had a scheme. He always had a plan. He always had things going on, stuff going on.
Okay.
Even back then. And there was somebody in Finland that had some sort of Hanoi Rocks connection. Like, I didn't even know what the connection was, if he just maybe knew them or was from Finland, so it was enough of a connection.
Okay.
But he was like a guy that was trying to get, like a promoter type guy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's always those guys that are like, yeah, man, get your shit together and come on over here, and I can make sure you have like the best gigs, and and so Izzy had, I guess, been carrying on these late night conversations with this guy, on the phone, like talking to this guy. I forget his name. He had a funny name, and was like, we got to do this, man. We got to get shit together and get a band together and just fucking go over there. They'll pay for it, and they'll, you know, be on.
To go to Finland.
Yeah. And I was like, well, okay, sure. And so anyways, they had finally gotten to the point where they rented a room for to audition rehearsal type thing, right? Our hourly rehearsal place down. It was kind of far out of town in a way because it was cheaper. And so I went and I think they had some girl, maybe a girlfriend, that drove one car, and I went with my mom's car with my drum loaded.
I love that, by the way.
Like it was a Toyota like sedan too. It wasn't like an SUV or a station wagon. So I had mostly drums in the back seat and a few in the front seat and a couple of stands here and there. And I went to their place and picked up, I think Axl rode with me, and with a drum on his lap after he got in, you know, in the front seat. And Izzy had his little 1 amp that he had and a guitar and the girl, and then we took off down to the studio. And remember, we stopped at a 7-Eleven on the way because it was like probably a 15-minute drive, and Axl got a cup of coffee to go, and I got one too, and we're driving, and it was like, okay, let's go to the studio now. We stopped and we got our shit, you know, beer and coffee. You know, I put the gas on at a stop sign, and he like spilled some coffee on his lap, and he just went like, I was like, are you okay? He's like, yeah. Spilled coffee on my lap. You know, that feeling. And I was like, okay, well, you'll get over it. So he was already kind of like on edge, you know. So we got to the studio, set up, and big mirror on, you know, it was almost like a dance ballet rehearsal studio, like in a way. They had a big full-length mirror, so they were doing their thing in the mirror, and I was like setting up my drums, and Izzy it was just us three really. And the girl was there just kind of waiting for it to be over so he could drive him home. And so we jammed, and Axl sang, and there was a piano in there, and Axl played like a little bit of piano. I was like, wow, this guy's got some weird, you know, talent. And it turns out in the long run, after the thing, you know, I called him a couple days later, so when are we gonna jam again? It was like you know, the short end of the story is they didn't like the way I played drums. Even though I'd been playing longer than they had been playing, they just was not right. The style wasn't right. I was more, you know, a crazy sort of 70s style drumming, and they were just looking for somebody really straightforward. And at the time, most of the drummers in town were aspiring to be like Tommy Lee and stuff like that, you know, very flashy and very animated and lots of fills and lots of stuff. And they were just, in Izzy's mind anyway, they were really looking for something different than that.
Okay.
Really straightforward, really just almost Ramones simplicity, but more hard rock version, like AC/DC, which wasn't what I was doing at all. So anyways, they're like, yeah, we got another couple drummers we want to try out before making decisions, and blah, 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 just kind of blowing me off basically.